AI has potential to change the way we do some of the mundane and tedious tasks and change the way some of our on field team members are doing their day to day jobs. You have these legacy systems, legacy applications, and then on the other side, you have these cutting edge AI ML technologies that are up and coming in the market. There's this misconception that AI is going to replace my job that I hear quite a bit. The field of AI is changing so much. If you're tied to a particular technology or a particular platform, there's no space for that in tech.
Welcome to the CAIO podcast, where we delve deep into the world of chief AI officers, exploring their journeys, insights, and challenges in steering AI initiatives within their organizations. Today, we are thrilled to have Hardi Gokani, the Director of Product Engineering for AI and ML at Grainger, a leading B2B organization serving over 3.2 million customers. Grainger is known for its expertise in providing products and services across various categories, including safety, material handling, and metalworking. With a focus on innovation, they have embraced the power of AI and machine learning to enhance their operations and customer service. Hardy, thank you so much for joining us today. We are eager to delve into your journey as a leader in the AI ML space and gain insights into how Grainger is leveraging these cutting edge technologies to drive success.
Thank you for having me, Sanjay. I'm really excited to share a few of my experiences and the work we do here at Grainger within AI and ML.
Wonderful, Ardi. As I mentioned to you before, we have a global audience. Uh, Thousands of people who are in the AI world, policymakers, CEOs, etc., listening to you. And as I told you before, the three areas of focus are to inspire others who want to follow in your journey, and also allow you to talk about why somebody should be coming to work at Grainger in terms of attracting the talent, and finally, creating a collaborative environment for your peers as you learn from each other. So let's begin this conversation about the inspirational part. So to do that, why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about Grainger, folks who don't know, especially outside the US, and your role and responsibilities as the director of product engineering for AI ML.
So, for folks who don't know what Grainger is, I'll start a little bit with that. Our tagline is we're for the ones who get it done. What that means is our customers are people who run those factories, who operate those plants, which keep our world working. So we have so many customers that are government clients. We have paper factories, we have hospitals. So we provide them with essential products and supplies, like you mentioned before, safety, metalworking, to keep their plants running so they can keep the world running. My role is we try to identify business problems, business use cases, and then explore AI and ML solutions and algorithms that can help solve our business problems. So we build solutions not only for external customers, but for our internal team members as well, so our cross-functional business partners. My role specifically is to understand their business problem, identify what AI and ML solutions we can help them with to improve productivity and the speed at which they do their work, and then ensure and oversee end-to-end execution of those products, which align with our stakeholders' expectations.
Wonderful. So basically, Grainger is the real person behind every business, making them work. And what you are doing is helping internal as well as external clients to keep things going for the 3.2 million customers that you have. Hardy, as I said, this part is the inspirational part. Can you tell our listeners about your journey, how you got to this point, and how you got into AI for the folks who want to grow up to be you or want to be you?
Yes. I'll start a little bit about why I got into tech and then go to AI. When I was a kid, I lost my grandfather, I think, when I was 5 years old. So I was very, very close to his brother who lived in the UK. The only way that I could talk to him was go to a cyber cafe, start a Skype conversation, and see him. So technology from my childhood childhood has fascinated me with its power of what it did for me. So when I grew up, I always wanted to explore the power of technology and just try to make everyone's life a little bit easier. The reason I got into AI is I love technology and I love learning about business. So I want to be the person who can bridge that gap and use technology for making someone else's life a little bit better. AI has potential to change the way we do some of the mundane and tedious tasks, and change change the way some of our on-field team members are doing their day-to-day jobs. So AI fascinates me so much with the power it has. And my journey has been very interesting because I have worked in different spaces within technology, have worked with marketing partners, financial partners, call center partners, and trying to see how tech, specifically AI, can help solve some of their biggest problems.
Fantastic. So we have your grandfather's brother to thank for this amazing journey. So thank you, so that we have you in such an important role. And obviously, you are engaging across using tech to solve business problem, not tech for the sake of cool tech. So that I think is very, very important to know. One of the questions from our listeners was, what is Hardy's work day like? What does she do? Besides talking to podcast hosts, what does she actually do? What? Yeah, give us give them an example of your average work day.
A lot of my work involves interacting with cross functional business partners, trying to understand their problem, keeping tech aside. I think a lot of times what I've seen is when we see a new tech, for example, when ChatGPT came out, everyone wanted to build chatbots without taking a step back and really understanding, can I apply this? Is this valuable to my business? So, a big part of my role is working hand in hand with our customers and trying to understand their problem. I do so by visiting customer sites. There is a big culture at Grainger where we are frequently visiting our customers on site, our team members on site, and observing them in their day and how they get their work done. So that's one of the biggest pieces of my day. Second is working closely with our users. So when we build a product, what I like to do is co-design the product with them. I avoid having just the tech team go and do their solution on their own, but it should be a partnership and a strong feedback loop that we establish with our users. And then finally, the third, maybe 20% of my day is overseeing execution and how the progress we are making, metrics, and the business value that we drive.
No, but that's you made some very important points, especially for our listeners. You're going out there to meet customers, to meet partners out there, because we live in this virtual world, and I think people forget that it's sometimes you just have to meet people and build those relationships. And the other thing is the co-development with your users, as you said. You're not shoving solutions down their throat. You're building it with them, I think. And then the third part is the execution. 20% is execution. So dealing with customers, dealing with users, and then execution. That's a very, very a busy but good work day that you have. um, Hardy, can you share for our listeners some of insights into the challenges and opportunities that you have encountered while you're building this AI ecosystem at Granger?
Yeah, I think the first one is architecture and infrastructure. We're an old company. We've been here for almost a century now, and you have these legacy systems, legacy applications, and then on the other side, you have these cutting edge AI ML technologies that are up and coming in the market. So for us to be able to leverage the power of those new cutting edge technologies, we need to upskill our architecture and infrastructure. So we're, for example, right now we're building an MLOps platform to deploy models at scale. Before that, each ML team had their own solution trying to deploy models, but we are also uplifting our architecture and infrastructure. The second challenge was upskilling team members. There are parallels between what we do today in AI ML and what was done previously for software engineering and traditional data engineering. So just how do you upskill your team members, provide them with resources, training, and material to upskill themselves in building AI powered products? And then finally, which is my favorite, I think, is bringing team members along. We cannot shove products to our users and say and expect them to use it. You need to involve them in the process right from the beginning and making them your partners. There's this misconception that AI is going to replace my job that I hear quite a bit. But with our users, because they were involved right from the beginning, we very rarely get that feedback that you're building this product to replace the job that we are doing. Some of the most inspiring stuff that I've heard is I was spending 4 hours on this. Now I spend 2 hours on this. So thank you very much for building this technology and bringing this to us. And all this was possible because bringing team members along is one of the challenges that I've seen. Not everyone considers that as a key component of building AI products.
One of the things you talked about, that you have almost a century old company, Hardy, and that you have old infrastructure plus you have some new technologies, but also there is this whole issue of the old way of doing things, which has worked very well, and now you're talking about something which is fairly transformative, I would say incredibly transformative. How has management kind of reacted to this, and is there high level of visibility to what you're doing? This is also for people who are looking to come to Grainger to understand that, hey, is this something that gets shoved aside, or is this something that is core to the company now?
I love this question. Grainger is a very, very business focused company. As we mentioned, as you mentioned as well, and I highlighted before, we build AI products to solve business problems. Those business problems are at the forefront of our leaders' minds, or including our CEO, our chief product officer, our chief technology officer. So we've had our teams, my team has presented to the CEO on what solutions we're building to solve business problems using AI and ML. We've had our ML scientists, ML engineers demo solutions to the CEO to show him what technology, the power of technology, and this transformative journey that we are on. So business problems will always be the forefront for Grainger, but how we do things using technology is a key piece and a key component that all our leaders understand and recognize. That's why it's amazing to work for a company who builds products for team members and for business impact that are valuable.
Wow. So high visibility within the organization and a lot of buy-in for what you're doing. So that's good for people who are definitely looking at Grainger as an opportunity for them to come. Hardy, one other question that came in was, what do you feel are the skills that someone should have for someone in your position? Obviously, hey, be hardy. But as somebody is trying to take on this role and get up there, what skills should they have?
I'm going to leave foundations of AI ML aside because if you're in AI field, you are expected to know some of the AI algorithms.
That's table stakes, is what you're saying.
Exactly,
Mhm.
exactly. But outside of that, they're not something that you wouldn't see in any role. One of the biggest thing I think is strategic to tactical oscillation. The reason I call this out is I've seen leaders who are awesome at that big picture view, strategic roadmap, but then they struggle when it comes to being tactical. So one of the skills you can develop is how do you oscillate between being strategic, having the grand big vision for your product and your company, but also the ability to break it down into small different tactical initiatives. The second strength that I would say someone in this position should have is continuous learning. The field of AI is changing so much. If you're tied to a particular technology or a particular platform, there's no space for that in tech. We change so rapidly. So keeping an open mind, which brings me to the third skill is starting with a business problem. Cannot stress this enough. Someone in this position should always start with the business problem versus I have this technology, let me try to build something out of it. And these skills are specific if you're interested in applied machine learning. So how do you apply machine learning for business applications. So yeah, these are the three things that I would say are key and crucial to be in a role similar to what I am.
Well, I think you made some great points. As you said, knowing foundationally AI/ML table stakes, but being able to oscillate or juggle between tactical, strategic, that's key. Obviously, self-learning is very, very important, and being able to deal with business problems, keeping that focus. Talking about self-learning, we talked about your average workday. How much time do you spend, Hardy, in terms of just whether it's in weekends or weekdays, etc.? Because things are changing. I mean, it's mind-numbing to see what all is going on. But for our listeners, would you say how do you find firstly the time, and secondly, how much time do you spend on self-learning?
I am actually pursuing my part-time MBA at Kellogg Northwestern with my full-time job. So that's my second job over the evenings and weekends. Um, I I believe that I learn quite a bit from people and my peers. So going to business school has helped me evolve so much as in being a better leader. So that's one of my biggest areas where I keep learning. Second is my network. Specifically within AI and ML, I learn quite a bit from people in the industry who have built similar products or who are sometimes even doing research on an area that's relevant to my role and my job. Never hesitate to cold call someone, send a cold email to someone on LinkedIn. People love to talk about their job and their work. So there's so much you can learn from your peers, people in the industry, people in your network. And then finally, I do a little bit of reading as well when I get time over the weekends. Just on the internet, I go and my newsfeed keeps feeding me articles on LLMs and some of the other advancements in the industry. So reading quite a bit, and I also attend conferences. Like last year, I was at CBPR in Vancouver, and this year I went to WACWI in Hawaii. So both those conferences were specific to computer vision because that was my field. That is my field of expertise within Grainger, building AI products specifically within computer vision.
Wow. So you're pursuing a part-time MBA. You spend time over the weekend. You reach out to your peers. Wow. So those are great lessons in there. That kind of leads me to ask the question, which is important also for people who are following in your footsteps. What do you believe is the role? Do you believe in the role of mentors or having mentors? And they come in many different shapes and forms, formal, informal, etc. For our listeners, tell them a little bit about your thoughts on mentorship.
You stole my answer. Mentors come in many different ways and forms.
Mhm.
I've had so many mentors throughout my career so far that have made a significant impact in bringing me where I am. One of my mentors actually told me that career is a team sport. It's not something you can achieve on your own. You should want others around you to succeed, and that's how you're going to succeed. So for me, mentorship is extremely valuable because it has opened up opportunities that I otherwise might not have access to. And the other key aspect outside of opportunities is blind spots. We all have blind spots. They're called blind
Mhm.
spots because we don't know them.
Mhm.
So when someone asks me, what do you want from this mentorship relationship? I would always say, help me identify my blind spots. What is it that I'm not seeing about the way I'm operating that you are observing and can help me change for the better? So mentors truly play a very important role in anyone's career. The other thing I would highlight is mentorship doesn't mean someone who works in my space, who's in AI ML, but it means having a diverse mentorship group. It does not even have to be one person, it can be many people at the same time, just because everyone brings a very different perspective. They evaluate situations from a completely different standpoint. So having a diverse set of mentors who are not directly in my field has helped me tremendously.
Two great feedbacks. One is mentors who can identify your blind spots. That's an excellent point. And then also having diverse mentors, not specifically because you don't want someone like you, because then you're getting an echo chamber, is what Hardy's saying. Bring people who are outside your comfort zone, which I think is an excellent point. Um, Hardy, uh, share with us some examples of some AI powered innovations that either you're working on or have worked on that are actually there, or some things that are there, so our listeners who are looking at Grainger can see some cool things. This is your opportunity to brag to people about some cool things that are happening at Grainger.
Yeah. And this is my favorite part. I'll talk about three products. The first is search by image. 2 years ago, we started on this journey of incorporating search by image on our websites and mobile application so that our customers can just take a picture of the product and try to find recommendations on Grainger.com. The two other applications are more specific to computer vision. The second product is 3D product recognition. What we do is we have stand and a device that we leverage from the market. It's essentially an iPad, but we built algorithms to do 3D product recognition. So we started with fasteners. We'd click a picture of the fastener, just two images, and it would give you all the attributes of the fastener, the length, the thread type. For those who don't know what fasteners are, they're just nuts and bolts that are so crucial to any machine. And we cannot go wrong with identifying the right fastener because precision requirements is so high when you want to use that part in a machine that's so critical to doing a job. And then the third one is when we get a new customer, sometimes they're existing customers or sometimes they're brand new customers. They tell us, hey, Grainger, why don't you be our preferred supplier? We want you to manage this part of our business. Before we can even provide them with options, we need to go to their sites and understand what are they even buying from our competitors today. So we built a product that does object detection and recognition. We go on site. That model is deployed on the edge devices, and we have them click pictures of what our customers carry. And using object detection, we create a digital schema of our customer's environment. And we added on AR, augmented reality, and OCR, optical character recognition, to that to seamlessly collect very high fidelity and rich information about our competitors' information. About our customers' inventory data. I stand corrected. And all of this is patented. So Grainger has patented all these solutions. We're the ones who are cutting edge in our MRO industry. And this is our IP.
Wow. So three very, very cool products, but they're making a huge difference to customers. As you said, you start with customer needs, not just the cool technologies. There's an image where you can take a snap and find it in the Grainger catalog, Grainger.com. Then there is this 3D product. As you said, fasteners are the lifeblood of, buildings, all kinds of other stuff. And you can't go wrong. You need the right perfect dimensions, the characteristics. You take a 2D picture, it'll give you a 3D representation or the characteristics. And the finally is really onboarding of new clients, basically from the competitors, giving them a great perspective. So basically, Hardy, and this is very important for listeners who are looking at Grainger, is AI ML is actually making a difference to customers and people's lives. So, if I'm out there trying to buy a product and I really don't know, and I just have an image, it saves so much of a hassle to get this thing done quickly on Grainger.com, etc. So I think that's fantastic for people to know. Coming to the work environment, Hardy, talk to our listeners about how are you creating a culture of innovation and opportunity within your environment. What exists for people to get excited coming to you, and experimentation also within Grainger.
Yeah. When I build roadmaps, I encourage teams to dedicate, and I actually put it as a line item, innovation and experimentation. 10 to 15% of my team members' time is all experimentation and innovation. And that is twofold. One is experimenting with new ideas. and second is innovation in the ways we're already doing things. So I believe both innovations are extremely essential for the business and also for retaining team members. Bringing in cutting edge and best talent from the industry is a very small piece of the whole process, but how do you retain them? How do you give them those opportunities that excite them in solving problems? So innovation and experimentation is a key piece of our roadmap and we've seen so many success stories within our organization when we give team members that space and time to be creative and try new approaches. The other thing about Grainger is phenomenal culture. I think that plays a key role in innovation and experimentation as well. Tell you a story about 2 years ago, over 2 years ago, when I joined the company. I had introduction calls with so many of the leaders, and I used to ask them, "How long have you been with Grainger?" 10 years, 15 years, 17 years. And I used to think to myself, what is so special about this place? Like, why have people been here for such a long time? And as I spent more and more time within the company, I realized how rich the culture is. And one of the very unique things we do is we encourage rotations within the company. Even though you are an expert in the field that you are right now, we will create opportunities for you to go and try something completely different and develop that skill set, which otherwise you wouldn't have an opportunity to do unless you've had years of experience behind you in that specific field. And I'm not talking about rotations just as at an IC, individual contributor level, but even at senior leadership level, where you have decades of experience leading a particular field, but you are given an opportunity to go lead a completely different field.
Amazing. So, listeners, Hardy has 10 to 15% of times set aside for innovation and experimentation. And then there is a rotation feature, which I think is incredible because it takes you away from your comfort zone to allow you to learn things and build up your skills. I think that's fantastic. um, Hardy, what are the skills that you look for when you're looking to hire someone, so that someone is listening out there wants to apply, or maybe I want to apply for a job to Granger? uh, Probably don't have the skills, but what skills would you be looking for in someone?
Yeah, so we do two types of recruiting. One is early in career recruiting. We strongly believe in nurturing talent right outside their PhD or master's program. So that's one of our avenues for recruiting. The second is bringing talent right from the industry. The skill sets that we look for is technical know-how. What I love about our recruiting process is if you're using XYZ algorithm, we will open up and broaden out a little bit to include A, B, and C as well, so that what you're evaluating is if a person is proficient in a particular technology or programming language, how good they are in their space, and how is their aptitude to learning and picking up new technology. Because again, like I mentioned before, being in tech, one of the key things that we look for is not only the knowledge they have, but how adaptable and flexible they are in picking up new technology. The second biggest component of our interviewing process is our cultures, our principles. We This is one of the places where I've seen my team members, my leaders, my peers actually practice the principles that we have. They're called Grainger Edge principles. So there's a huge component of culture fit as well. Uh, Grainger strongly believes in investing in our success and winning as one team. So making sure the people we hire from the industry carry the same culture and principles that we do is a key piece to our hiring.
Wow. So obviously, two key things, Hardy, for our listeners. One is the not just having the skills, but the adaptability to other things is very, very key. And second is a culture fit within the Granger principles. Not just anybody. You might have the best technical skills out there, but maybe not the right culture fit. So that would not work. So I think that's those are great points. Uh, Another question came from a listener was the role of diversity and inclusion in your team, because we have now in a way a global workforce. So they want to know uh, what are your thoughts on that?
At Grainger, we live and breathe diversity. And I say that because just maybe 2 weeks ago, we had a team meeting for all Director Plus audience, and we spent 2 hours talking about diversity and inclusion. We have diversity not only at the higher levels but at early in career, and I think these two are the most easiest places where you can actually get diverse candidates. The trouble is in the middle management, and that's the piece we spoke about. How do we, yes, we're bringing in early in career talent that are diverse, we're bringing in leaders that are diverse, but how do we make our middle management pool also diverse? So someone who is thinking about diversity at all levels of organization blows my mind. I've not been at a company outside of Grainger where we talk about diversity in different levels of the organization. So it's phenomenal to see that. The second thing we focus on is not only hiring. Hiring, in my opinion, is 25% of the challenge. But once you bring the diverse candidate into the company, how do you retain them? How do you give them those resources and support system to thrive within the company and succeed? Not only just be there and do their 9 to 5 job, but give them those opportunities that helps them grow and create a career at Grainger.
I think excellent point. So middle management is the challenge. Diversity is part of the ethos of Granger, but now you're looking at it at all levels. You know, the top management, middle management, and the new recruits that are coming in. Tell our listeners if they join, what in a field as fast evolving as AI is. What are the potential for reskilling, upskilling? If you can give some specific examples, if you have any.
This is one of the best perks that Grainger has. So we have access to several learning platforms where our team members can go and upskill themselves. We bring in vendors to do workshops and expand a little bit about how to use different platforms. The best piece is tuition assistance. So Grainger has an awesome tuition reimbursement program where they cover first few $1,000s, and beyond that they pay 50% of what you pay in educating and upskilling yourself. So I've had team members who have gone and done degrees in ML from one of the best schools in the US, and having Grainger support them and backing them up from a financial standpoint was a key driver for them, because some of these degrees, let's be real, are expensive.
Incredible. So they are supporting them with 50% match for their higher education. That is fantastic because some of these degrees, as you know, as we all know, can be very, very expensive. So that is an incredible opportunity. You have reskilling, you have diversity, um, you have innovation and experimentation. That's fantastic. Uh, Talk a little bit about what do you see the future of AI at Granger, um, um, Hardy?
AI at Grainger and otherwise is going to be transformative. It has already made so many transformations in the field, but it is going to continue to change the way we do things. I'm not saying it's going to replace jobs. I don't know what it's going to be, but I do think it's going to change the way we do things for the better. It's going to help our team members be more strategic in in the task that they do and leave the mundane, repetitive tasks to the machine. For example, our team members now, because of the product we gave them, are able to spend more time with the customers and build that relation and try to understand what they need versus going on field and spending 4 hours just collecting data from their storage units. The other thing that I see is going to start happening is AI transparency. There is going to be a lot of demand and need for being transparent about the AI products that you're building, especially the data that you're using, and how you're leveraging my data as a consumer to build AI products. So yeah, these two things I think are some of the couple of trends that I see changing in our AI industry.
No, that's fantastic. So AI transparency, as well as giving people more time for maybe dealing with customers or maybe higher value activities that AI will allow them to do. Um, Hardy, what are some key data or infrastructure investments that have been made to support AI initiatives at Grainger?
Yeah. We are on a journey for building our data as products. So we have customer data, we have our order data, we have so many different domains within Grainger, and we're starting to build all these data assets as a product. What that means is, I'll unpack it a little bit. We start at the source, we start with what we're producing as a company, and then we're thinking about and implementing how do we package this in a way that's applicable to all cross functional domains, giving them the middle between very customized view of the data versus very generic view. So that standardization of data at the middle level across different domains is something we're actively pursuing. The second thing is we everyone knows we need data for building and training AI models. So we also do a little bit of synthetic data generation. I hesitate a little when someone tells me I don't have enough data to train the model. You always have something to start with. You don't need huge and massive amounts of data. The key is for one of our products, we had just 25 images from the field. We have a synthetic data engineer on the field, on our team, sorry, who took those 25 images and turned them into thousands of images with different lighting, different environment, different background. And we released first version of the model using synthetic data. The key is that I think many of us newer to the field forget is developing that feedback loop and retraining pipelines. This should actually be embedded in the product development lifecycle. Otherwise, our models are not fresh, they're not updated, and in case of LLMs, they hallucinate. So it's so important to start with what you have. It's okay to start small, but then get more feedback from your users as you're building these products in form of data, and then make sure you're keeping your models fresh.
Oh, that's amazing. Hardy, you talked about synthetic data. Obviously, there's a lot of discussion going on, and I wanted to ask you, you had 25 images and then you built on them. Did you see the quality? I mean, you said you did not. The quality of the data get degraded over time, and what was the hallucination? Did it impact the hallucination rate over time with this?
Yeah, in our use case, it did not. The use case
Mm,
we had was we were at customer location and we captured some images, and our
mm,
customers could have different environment because we are going to their environment. They might have different lighting, low lighting,
mm,
high lighting. So we were trying to replicate some of those environmental constraints, and we
mm.
were able to successfully release the first version of our model. We did cap the performance of the model to a certain percentage that we are going to use this in production if the prediction accuracy is XYZ. So we did set those guardrails to ensure that the low quality predictions does not impact our end users of the product.
Wow. So you're using synthetic data. That's fantastic. Now, you talked about data, which is, as you know, is the lifeblood of AI. How are you navigating data security and privacy concerns? Because you're dealing with such vast amounts of data. You have 3.2 million customers who are giving that information to you.
Yeah, so we work very closely with our privacy and legal team members.
Hmm.
All the AI use cases that we have, our
Hmm.
legal team, believe it or not, are aware of what we're working on and checking mark those boxes that we are following all the standards that they expect us to follow. The second thing is transparency in what you're doing. Having a transparent culture and how you're using the data, what you're using it for is very, very critical. Third is following compliance laws, making sure that we are compliant with all the different state laws that we have for data privacy and security. And then finally, data minimization, using the amount of data, using only the amount of data that's essential to your use case. So these are the four things that we actively follow in building all our products.
So you talked about data compliance and making sure the privacy issues are done. What about AI ethics? Does Grainger have like a ethics committee or an ethics board for AI?
So we do have an AI strategy committee that
Mhm.
whose responsibility is AI ethics, governance, and overall security and privacy concerns. And that board, that committee consists of different representatives from different functions.
Okay, so that's something you're obviously looking at from that standpoint. Um, how do you assess? And you talked a little bit about, co-building with clients or users these solutions, but how do you assess the business impact and ROI of some of these programs?
Again, I love this question. So, our philosophy and approach is to start with the customer and start with business problem. While we're doing opportunity assessment and building the use case, we lay out metrics and not the AI metrics, which are accuracy and precision and recall, but business metrics. Are we going to drive productivity through this particular product? Are we going to increase throughput of our team members? Or are we going to increase the speed at which they do work? Or are we going to contribute to our revenue growth and market share? So we start our metrics at a business level and what is our impact to the business, bottom line, and then trickle down to some of the other specific initiative level metrics, which are accuracy, precision, recall. So I think measuring impact of AI products is very critical because that's how you get buy-in from other stakeholders. If I go to a business stakeholder and say our model is 100% accurate, means nothing to them. Means absolutely nothing to them unless it's improving the way their team members do their job or getting it done faster or they're able to do more in the same amount of time.
So accuracy, but make sure that there is a value to the customer in terms of doing more with less. Hardy, I think that's a great message that you're providing. Hardy, can you talked about synthetic data and some of these other things? Can you, for your peers who are listening here, can you elaborate on some specific AI technologies your company is utilizing, whether it's deep learning, machine learning, etc.?
Yeah, we use deep learning, we use NLP, we use large language models. One of the use cases I didn't mention was our customer service center chatbot. So we created a chatbot using large language models for our customer service center. The key difference is we love to implement our products with human in the loop. This is fairly widely used terminology in the AI field. The way we've developed our chatbot is we let the LLM extract information, understand the context of our customer's request, and fetch the right answer. But we have our team member in the loop. We call it human in the loop to interpret and make sure that we are responding to our customer's request in an accurate fashion. What this particular use case did is cut down the time our team member was actually spending in opening product catalogs. Let me go and see, does the specification match? Is this what our customer really wants? And using this AI customer service center digital assistant as their peer and as a tool that can simplify the job they're doing. So again, they can spend more time with the customer versus trying to do research.
So, is it widely now implemented, the customer service chatbot,
Yeah.
Hardy?
So we roll this out to our technical specialists in March. We're in the process of rolling it out to all of our service center representatives by mid of this year.
But so that will be a major thing, right, Hardy? Because it'll, how should I say it? It will enhance efficiencies dramatically,
Yes,
improve customer interaction. I mean, people always relate it to loss of jobs. I say, think about customers getting much higher value
correct.
and, building better brand recognition for Grainger that you have more satisfied customers and your customer service reps can build a better relationship
Yeah,
with clients, right?
yeah. And I want to emphasize that this digital assistant is not meant to replace anyone.
It's human in the loop.
We're providing this as an augmentation tool to help our team
Mhm.
members do the job in a more efficient and a faster way. So what we'll be able to do is address more customer requests in the same amount of time as we grow our business.
Well, that's great. Uh, Again, for your peers, question came in is how important is it to have a strong data science team for doing a successful AI adoption?
One of the biggest misconceptions sometimes I've seen is when you're building AI products, ML and data scientists are maybe 75% important. In my opinion, there are more parallels to traditional software engineering than one would think. And I wish someone had told me this when I was starting to work in AI ML. So I start with the way I think about it is I start with users. If there are
Mhm,
no users, you're not building the product for anyone. No one's going to use your product. Then I
mhm,
come to the data science team. We need them to build and train models that satisfy the customer's need.
mm,
Then is our engineering team. If we Even if we have users, we have AI models, but if we don't have engineers who can actually deploy these models wherever we want, is it if it's real-time inference, if it's edge deployment, then there's no use of those models. And then finally, our product people. Product management is the glue that brings all of this together and makes sure that the models that we're building, the way we're deploying, are all satisfying our users' need. So this is not an order of priority, but I think these are pieces of a puzzle that are absolutely essential to successfully deploying an AI powered product.
well, you kind of described the software development lifecycle in some shape, really. So, user, data science, engineering, and product development team per se. Um, that's very, very helpful and hopefully will be very valuable to your peers. Um, Hardy, when you look ahead, what emerging trends do you see shaping the future of AI, especially in your industry?
One of the things I mentioned is transparency. Again, AI transparency. How are we? How are we using the data? How are we deploying these models? Second thing is it will change the way we do things for the better. It will AI is going to be an essential tool that's going to help our team members do their job in a much better way. And finally, is ethics, AI ethics. I think as a society, we have responsibility to leverage AI and take a step back and think about the products that you're building using AI. How does it not only how does it impact you, but how does it impact your company? And go another level beyond that. How does it impact the society? So I think we are going to see more and more of these conversations surface as we progress in the field of AI and machine learning.
So go beyond the technology, look at ethics, and how does it impact society. I mean, is that something you also think about a lot in this, whether it's in this job or just as a person, as somebody is looking at you, Hardy? Is that something they need to be thinking of? Whether hey, I'm coming in as chief AI officer. I'm great in ML. I'm great in data science. I manage large projects. But what you're saying is you need to think beyond. Is that what you're saying to our listeners?
Absolutely. And this holds true not only for AI, but in any job that you do. Think beyond yourself.
Hmm.
Think about how it's helping you and your teams, but also your company as a whole and the society. I believe that we all have a responsibility towards a society, and we should all be at least thinking about and talking about the impact our work has on society as a whole.
Our impact on society as a whole. Great, great lesson. Hardy, coming to the and I mean, I have so many other questions, but you have a job to do. But some key lessons that you've learned in this amazing journey so far, and what advice you want to give to organizations that are CEOs of large companies who are looking to set up a chief AI officer role and build out their AI capabilities. What would be some lessons for them? You've been so successful at Grainger. What would you say to them?
Yeah, I'm going to sound like a broken record, but it's so important. Don't start with technology, start with the problem. If you're working for a company that solves problems, then look, start with the problem and then try to map what kind of technology can help you solve that problem in a better way. As I mentioned before, I've seen some leaders who come in and say, we have this new tool, cool technology, let's use it. That's great. But let's take a step back and evaluate how is it going to benefit us. Just because LLMs are now a thing, do I need a digital assistant? Is it helping my company? What's my customer base? How am I going to improve average handle time? Just thinking about some of those business specific metrics is very, very key. Second is, cannot again emphasize enough how important the users are in your journey. There is this conception in the industry that AI is, you cannot trust AI, you cannot, it's going to replace my job. But as a leader, how do you change some of those with, especially within your company, if you're trying to build a product with your for your team members, in bringing them along in the journey? Let's talk about it together. We are not going to build something and throw it for using that you're expected to use, but how do we together design this experience for you? So that's a second thing that's critical for someone who is trying to step into an AI role.
So basically, make sure you start with a problem and then also get the users involved in that. Those are 2 points you made consistently.
Yes.
And for people who are getting into this journey or setting up this role in their organization, I think Hardy has given some fantastic insights, very, very valuable insights. Hardy, we tend to end with a lightning round of questions. These are light questions, might just maybe short answers. Now, as I said, if you want, you can skip some of them, but we're still going to ask you.
Okay.
Um, can you tell our listeners any book or newsletter or resource that you would recommend that you use?
AI Weekly, subscribe to it. It sends me information in my inbox. Sometimes I don't have the time to read through the entire article, but at least the headlines uh, get fed into my brain, so I know what's going on in the field.
Okay, AI Weekly. Um, Hardy, supervised learning or unsupervised learning?
Ooh, I
You
would say
can skip it if you want.
unsupervised. Unsupervised.
Unsupervised.
Yeah.
Okay. Cloud or on-prem AI infrastructure?
Cloud, 100% cloud.
Cloud. Closed or open source?
Open source, I love to share with the community.
Great. Uh, Final, TensorFlow or PyTorch?
PyTorch.
PyTorch. Okay. If you could have a conversation with any AI luminary, who would it be?
Alan Turing. Has to be Alan Turing.
Alan Turing.
I want to sit down with
Fine.
him and get a brain dump of what he's thinking about the way we were making progress in AI. What are his groundbreaking ideas, especially in relation to ethics, privacy, transparency.
Absolutely. I think it's a great, great choice. Hardy, thank you so very much. I really want to thank you for sharing your experiences, your expertise in leading these AI initiatives at Grainger. We learned a lot, and our listeners obviously have learned a lot in terms of what they should do to get into this role, to become Hardy, and also why someone should join Grainger. I think it's a fantastic work environment, has innovation, has reskilling, has diversity. I mean, and many, many other things. And then for your peers, you talked about some of the cool things you're doing in synthetic data. You're doing some amazing things with your customers, some of the interesting products in computer vision that you're doing. This has been fantastic. As I said, I have like 20 other questions, but maybe we'll have you back again. Hardy, thanks again for taking the time. It's really been a pleasure.
Thank you for having me, Sanjay. It's been great to have a conversation with you this morning.
Thank you.